has been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Does the coffin text speak about that? Does the pyramid text speak about that? Does the Egyptian Book of the Dead speak about that? No. And most of this stuff that you guys are getting was translated by the white man. And the stuff that the so-called scholars, that translated these books or translated these hieroglyphs and stuff were educated and schooled in the scriptures. So when they were going back and so-called translating those texts, they were adding the knowledge of the scriptures that they already had. That's why you see so many similarities, in these different cultures. And like I said, everything back in the days was oral. Just because some of these other nations, like the Sumerians and others, had a written language before our records were actually written, doesn't mean that they were the originators of those things. Okay? So I'm going to read this, Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now let's go through some of them and then compare on the planet, by process of elimination, who this is pertaining to. Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city. When you look in the city, who do you see that's cursed as a people? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Now the Native American Indians, they're mostly up in reservations, which you don't really hear a whole lot about them, but there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on among the Native American Indians that show that they're in a very low state. They're so poor that they have to drink shampoo and other things that have alcohol context just to get drunk on the reservations.
Yeah, right outside the city is the ghetto.
That's right.
Which the tribes predominantly are in the ghettos. So that's another sign that, of the curses.
That's it. That's right, So do any of these Egyptian scripts, manuscripts, whatever you want to call them, do they speak about this? No, they don't. Because if they did speak about that, I'm pretty sure by now Shaka and Polite and others would have brought all that stuff out to so-called shut down the Hebrew Israelites. But they're not going to be able to do it because it's not in those texts. All those texts, majority of stuff that those texts speak about is mythology.
Cunningly devised fables.
That's it.
That's what the scriptures call them.
That's right. Cunningly devised fables. That's right. And they're not going to hit key events, prophecies, how to get yourself together, so to speak. And you're only going to really get this and get yourself together if you are part of the elect. And we're going to keep saying that. And that's another controversy among the Hebrew Israelites. That they don't a majority of them don't teach about the elect, which really none of them do. Now they're starting to mention the word elect out of their mouth, but they don't usually speak about the elect. They just speak about Israel in general as a people, as a whole. When the Lord is not dealing with all of Israel right now, he's only dealing with the elect. All right? So when you look around the city, everywhere you look, the so-called Negroes, the Latinos, and Native American Indians are in that condition, in that low condition, in a poor state, suffering, It says, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Now the field, when you read the scriptures and you understand the scriptures, it represents the world. All right? Matter of fact, I'll read that real quick so you don't think that we're making this up. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 13 and 38. I'll start at 37. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. So this whole world represents the field. So wherever Israelites are around the world, it doesn't matter what they look like. They could look like Chinese, they could look like Japanese, they could look like Africans, they could look like East Indians, Arabs, whatever. White people. If they're going through these curses, they're Israelites, because this is a curse that was before the nation of Israel. And there's no other book on the planet, the Quran doesn't speak about it, and no other book speaks about the conditions that our people are in but the Bible. And it says, verse 17, cursed shalt shall be thy basket and thy store, meaning the situation with your money and you being able to save. You know, your bank accounts really ain't doing that good. Now, you may have a handful of Israelites that are doing all right, you know, that are doing decent, but what most of them had to sell their soul in order to get to that position. And really, their riches are not really riches because the money that they have, which is Federal Reserve notes, is not real wealth. Because they could enact a law tomorrow, or they can crash the market and those dollar bills would be worthless.
Yeah, I want to go into this scripture right here. This is Acts 14:4. It says, I'll start at 3. Acts 14:3. It says, long time therefore abode they speaking boldly in the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, which gave testimony unto the word of his grace, and granted signs and wonders to be done by their hands. Verse 4. But the multitude of the city was divided, and part held with the Jews, and part with the apostles. 5th verse. And when there was an assault made both of the Gentiles, keep in mind the word Gentiles, and also of the Jews, which their rulers to use them despitefully and to stone them. It says here in the 6th verse, it says, they were aware of it and fled unto Lystra and Derbe, cities of Lycaonia, and unto the region that lieth around about. And there they preached the gospel, meaning they were outside. You know, they wasn't in the house, they wasn't in the building, they were outside because the people were gathered. And that's where the controversies started. Okay? Now I'm going to go back to the 4th verse. It says, but the multitude of the city was divided, and part held with the Jews, and part with the apostles. And when there was an assault made both of the Gentiles, and also of the Jews with their rulers to use them despitefully and to stone them. Now, it's mentioned the apostles, which we know that was the apostle Paul was one of the key apostles. And then you had the Jews, which didn't believe that the Messiah came. Just like we got today, you have certain Israelites that say the Messiah didn't come. Here it is 2015 and the Messiah didn't come yet. My question is, when is the Messiah coming? Because it's prophesied that there was going to be a Messiah. All right? And that there was certain things that he was going to go through. And when there was an assault made both of the Gentiles, there's a big controversy with the word Gentile or Gentiles. Like I said in the beginning of the show, you had you have certain Israelite groups that claim that Cornelius is an Edomite. We say different. We say Cornelius is an Israelite. Not we think and we believe, we know he's an Israelite. And then you have these guys that get together saying, why don't all the Israelites get together?